Let's continue our interview series and today discuss regarding the generic question leadership skills. Tell me about a time you demonstrated leadership skill. Is a common interview question. You don't need a fancy title to act like a leader or to demonstrate leadership skills. Think about a time when you headed a project, took the initiative to propose an alternative process, or helped motivate your team to get something done. Then use the STAR method to tell your interviewer a story, giving enough detail to paint a picture and making sure you spell out the result. Be clear about why you are telling this particular story and connect all the dots for the interview. There's a misconception that if you're not a manager, you're not a leader. But everyone in a company, even individual contributors and consultants, is a leader in some area, making leadership skills and qualities important to have no matter your title. For example, even if no one reports to you, you might be asked to take the lead running a project or planning the company event, or you may be responsible for training co workers to use a technology or methodology you are familiar with. And traditional leadership attributes like responsibility, confidence, strong communication skills, and relationship building come up no matter what your job is. However, there is one answer that you must avoid at any cost. Never say that you do not have any leadership experience. Everyone at some point or another in their career has had some leadership experience. Even if it's a project that you have undertaken with no title and experience, do not shy away from talking about it. Remember, the primary aim is to exude confidence and presenting yourself as the best possible candidate for the job. Even if a job isn't a managerial role, companies might be looking for someone with leadership skills because they want a person who can be groomed as a great leader in future. So it's a good idea to have your future employer think of you as a leader or potential leader from the start. Remember, authenticity matters. Choose an example that genuinely reflects your leadership style and aligns with the values of the organization you are interviewing with. Go to the company's website, or even better, talk to someone who works there. Take note of the leadership values they most focus on and craft your answers accordingly. Hiring managers often ask the behavioral questions like, tell me about a time you demonstrated leadership skills to assess a candidate's skills and abilities required for the position and evaluate their past experience and future leadership potential in handling work related challenges. Here are some tips on how to answer this question effectively. Choose a relevant example. When choosing an example to discuss, think about the job you are applying for and the leadership skills required for that role. The example should be relevant to the job you are interviewing for and demonstrate your ability to lead and manage effectively. Describe the situation. Start by describing the situations that you are in. What was the context? What was the goal or objective? Who was involved? Be specific and provide details that will help the interviewer understand the situation better. Explain your role. Explain your role in the situation. What leadership skills did you use? What decisions did you make? What actions did you take? Again, be specific and provide example to illustrate your points. Highlight the outcome. Finally, describe the outcome of the situation. What was achieved? What did you learn? How did your leadership skills contribute to the outcome? Be sure to highlight any positive results or achievements that demonstrate your leadership ability. Into questions about demonstrating leadership is a hidden sub question. What does leadership mean to you? So, you will want to make sure you start your answer by making your definition clear. There is no way to be a leader so long as you have taken some time to think about what leadership means to you personally. You are not going to give a wrong answer because there is no right and wrong answer here. Everyone has their own conception about leadership. Your interviewer doesn't want you to guess what they think a leader is. Instead, it is more important to show that you are self aware, that you have reflected on what leadership looks like, and that you know it is a journey before your interview. Take some time to think about what you think makes a strong leader and what sort of leader you are and want to be, whether or not anyone would be formally reporting to you in this role. Start by thinking about your past experiences, both as a leader and as an employee, and what worked and didn't work for you. For example, maybe you have thrived in a work environments with regular, clear communication between teammates and team leaders at each step of a project. Make a list of the qualities, skills, and actions you value in a leader and use this to define what leadership means to you. If you are interviewing for a job where you will be managing people, this definition is especially important. A theory of leadership will help you stand out of the crowd. It shows you understand the power you have over people's job. Choose a story to share. You should ask yourself what leadership situations and skills are likely to come up in the job you are interviewing for to help you pick the most relevant story. For example, does the job description mention taking the lead on certain cross functional projects? Take about a successful project. No matter how small, you led with folks from different teams. If you can think of a situation where you demonstrated leadership and achieved tangible or quantifiable results that benefited your team or company, that's all the better. Next is structure your answer. You have your definitions of leadership and you have defined a great story. All what is left now is to put all together to organize your response. Like with most behavioral answers, you will want to structure your answer to this question using the STAR method, but with one added component. Define what leadership means to you in one or two sentences. To streamline your answer, you should emphasize the aspects of leadership demonstrated by your story. Outline the situation briefly, including all the details necessary to understand your story and any that mentioned skills you would be using in this job. Describe the task of what your responsibility was in the situation. Talk about the action or actions you took and make sure you frame it all in the terms of leadership. Talk about the results of your action. The more quantifiable and concrete, the better. You can also briefly talk about anything you learned about leadership from this experience. Let me end with an answer which impressed me when I interviewed. I was interviewing a project manager who updated regarding his team's presentation with the client. In my last role, my team and I were responsible for giving a big presentation to a prospective client. I quickly assigned different tasks to members of my team, but the projects never really got moving. I gave everyone an opportunity to share the input and concerns, and it turned out they were struggling in the roles I had given them. I ended up switching a few people around. Meanwhile, the employee I had assigned to give the presentation was nervous, but still wanted to give it a try. I worked with them to make sure they were ready and even held a practice session so that they could rehearse in a more comfortable environment. When the time came for the real thing, they nailed it. We landed the client and the company still has the account to this date. And that employee became a go-to person for important client presentations. I am glad I took the time to listen to everyone's concern so that I could reevaluate my approach and help my team be the best it could be. I think that a good leader is someone who can make decisions while also listening to others and being willing to admit when you are wrong and course correct. So I believe you will also prepare well and impress your interviewer with the tactful reward. Thank you very much for your time. All the best.